it's me, GAZBOT, and it's time for another one of those GAZBOT updates, vlog, the GAZBOT Report, number 7. You ever just feel the need to shred? Shred now! So after that awesome making senseness, I will show you this. This is Leonardo as one of the Misfits, specifically Doyle. That was a digital sketch. Here is the inked version. This was done as a commission for someone, but with the understanding that I would be able to make prints of it, and that is the colored print version, which is available now up on my Etsy store. I'm working on 2 other commissions, which will mean eventually I will have all 4 of the Ninja Turtles done. These are just some old Dungeons & Dragons books I saw at a bookstore that I remember having 2 of which back when I was in high school, and they were even old then. This is a photo I thought was really awesome. There's just like a lot of random stuff on the front end here. This, if you notice, the back window is smashed out of this private security car, and I thought that was amusing irony. Up next, Raphael Misfit, the first one I did, as a tattoo. Somebody got the top half of the drawing I did as a tattoo, and I'm really impressed with the quality of work of the tattoo artist that really matched what I did there. I don't know who got it. I suspect it's somebody local. I kind of have a vague, I have a suspicion of somebody I think might have got it, not somebody I know, but just somebody I know around. But yeah, it's kind of an honor, but also really weird. Up next is, this is the Destroy a print I did for Godzilla Night that I had talked about in the previous video. Got the prints ready. Here I am with my setup, pointing at myself. This is probably for Instagram to let people know what was going on. And as you can see, I have plenty of Godzilla style art. There is a better shot of my actual setup. It's mostly just prints behind me, a little bit of the horror book in front of me. Then across the way was the other 2 artists that you can see right there. And this is Lensations, is his the art name he goes by, and he does a lot of photorealistic black and white stuff. And right next to him is Nick Shev, who does more comic booky style art. It's a little after 5. Yes, it's a little after 5. This is the intermission between the morning show and the night show. The night show actually has 2 movies as well as other activities, and so it starts at 7 and goes till I think 10-ish, or at least 10 is when the second movie starts. So I'll be here till at least then, and I want to get back by 6. Although the movie, like the festivities, don't start until 7. 6 is when they let people in, when they might be shopping, buying things from me, which is more what I need to be there for, really. But I haven't eaten anything since the Pop-Tarts I had this morning, and I'm hungry. And I'll be more hungry if I don't get food later. So the show is a little bit different this year. I think there's 1 less vendor, but then there are 2 other artists, both of whom I know. I wouldn't go as far as say we're friends, but we're friendly. I've met them at shows and things, and they're other Godzilla artists, which puts us in a very rarefied small group, which is nice. And so I was a little apprehensive because, like, how are we all going to fit in there? Is this going to be crowded? What's going to happen? But it's good because they moved it around so that all 3 of us are in the lobby, so none of us have to be out in the sun. We're not right on top of each other. And what's nice is all 3 of us do a lot of Godzilla Kaiju artwork, but we all have very different styles, so it's not like we're in direct competition with each other. So that's nice too. I've done okay. I haven't made $1 million, but it's been worth my time. Hopefully later when they show Godzilla Destroya is when we'll make some more money. I did get a cool commission from this guy who I won't name in case he doesn't want me to name him, but he is a vendor here, and he has a Judge Dredd art book, and he got me to do a picture in it, and he let me pick whatever Judge Dredd character I wanted, so I picked Judge Death, and here it is now. Here's the rough pencil sketch of Judge Death in the book. And then I did what I usually do, whereas I erase it, so it's very light, faint, and you can see I started re-inking on top of it there. And then I had all the lines in with a little bit of black. And with this one, I was going full Copic, grayscale. Not there yet. This is the full inks with all the black. And I could have left it there, but I did want to add the grayscale. So I have a little bit of warm, a little bit of cool. That's why some looks more gray, some looks more brown. It was done. He liked it. It was fun. Good, go. Yeah, that was fun, and I did that early before people started pouring in, so I didn't have to worry about doing that while I was selling. I have the new filing system set up. It's working okay. It's not fixing every problem, but it is a little bit easier. I still think I need to tweak my setup a bit, but it's working. It's working, fellas and ladies and lemurs and other poggles. So I don't have a lot of time, but it was just enough time to walk and eat here at Mel's Diner. Mel's Diner, that is close to a real diner in terms of the food they serve, has awesome kind of retro decor, very garish, very kitschy, very touristy, so of course I love it. I've been to them in the city, and I never realized there was one right by the Ball Theater, even though I've been there several times now. You can see my grilled cheese. It was superb.
It's funny, one of the other artists here, Nick Chev, is a native New Jerseyan, as am I, who now lives in the Bay Area of California and became, among other things, a Godzilla Kaiju artist. So, an uncanny parallel there. But anyway, I'm assuming significant other, a lady sat next to him, but I was telling him and the other artist, Lenny Ramiro, another Kaiju artist, and his significant other, again, assumed, hey guys, I'm gonna go get food because we've got like less than an hour and we're not gonna be able to eat later, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, now we got it covered. I'm like, cool, you hate me, but I'm like, I'm gonna go to the diner. And he's like, what, there's no diners in California, which there aren't. I'm like, yeah, but there's a chain diner, which actually, I've been to this chain before in the city. It's decent. It's overpriced, definitely overpriced. But I just got a grilled cheese and French fries, and they were great. It was grilled cheese that had like Jack American and something else mixed in it, and the fries were like super potato-y. It was really good. I'm glad I went.
Walking back, this is the front marquee of the Ball Theater, so it's always kind of cool to see the old-fashioned sort of signage. And here's some vendors out front, and that door is where I go through to the lobby. Came through, did an Ultra sketch, which is a 3-minute sketch, just monster or robot, and that was the monster they got for 3 minutes. Then they actually commissioned me for a head sketch to do Gigan, or Gigan, and you can see I did a light pencil, which I then erased and did the finished, but I had it so long before they came back that I messed with it a little bit more, and the main thing I did was make a little bit of white energy coming off the eye and throw a few more lines in. This is just some shots of the inside of the theater. I realize I've done this event a few times, and I don't know if I've ever commented. It's sort of like, I think they call it Art Deco or whatever. This is a shot from my table over there. It's not actually showing the theater that well, but if I pan over here, that's like the snack bar, and it's got this lighting. Yeah, I'm real bad with knowing architectural terms, but it's the historic Ball Theater, and a big part of it is that it's got this olden decor that they have not changed, adding to the fun, but also adding to the preservation of what might not otherwise be a profitable theater, in my estimation. Because while I like going there, it doesn't seem very, they're not going to have the new Star Trek there, for example.
Hey, all that stuff I just said I didn't record, so oh well, you don't get to know.
Here's a commission I did for a comic called Wolfpack, and it was fun to do, and I was happy to be commissioned to do it, and don't have a lot to say except check out Wolfpack. I'll put a link below. And following up on the theme of last time, here's some work I was doing on the horror. Again, this is Boots, a way off model face. This is her yelling about something and the pencils. So when I went back to it, I did new, pencils, digital pencils, and I like this one a lot better. So then I went into the inks, and it's better than that first drawing, but I started losing something from the second one. And so then I put some grays in and tweaked it up a bit, and it's still, again, better than the original one, but I kept messing with it, so I took the grays off, redrew it a little bit, went back in, redid it again, put more hair in it. This might be where I ended. I might have tweaked it some more, but I did tweak it some more because that gray looks weird. But again, it's an ongoing what looks good and right versus being on model, and sometimes I soar through panels, and then other times I get really hung up on minutia like this that just takes forever.
It's summer. It's hot. I think yesterday was summer solstice. I think was the longest day of the year, which is nice because I like the daylight. But it's like 90-something right now. This week has been horrible. Today 90. Yesterday was like 84, which wasn't bad, relatively speaking. Earlier in the week it was 103. 103. At night at 7:30 it got down to like 85. It's been terrible, and I hate summer. Also, in my house we don't have central air. We have one big air conditioner in the living room, which we can't change because we rent. We can't get wall units. So in the bedroom, it's always kind of hot. Luckily, it's at night, so it's a little better. But in the office with 2 computers, we have fans trying to pull the air in, and it's still hot. Who likes summer? No. No to summer. No, no, no. Hey there. I am working on the horror. Well, I will be working on the horror momentarily, but I am trying to do more doodles, rough sketches, warm-up sketches, whatever you want to call it, right, Booze? And it's difficult because typically I just do something I feel like doing, or I just doodle and see what comes out. But I have a real hard time, despite the fact that I do caricatures at birthday parties sometimes where I draw somebody's face in 3 minutes, but it's a different mindset, it's a different art style. So even when I do a quick sketch, I have a difficult time. I have some 15-minute sketches, challenge videos that you may have seen, and I find those very hard. And so I just did a loose style sketch, and I'll show you in a second, and it took me an hour. It was supposed to take 15, 20, 30 minutes, and it took me an hour. Now, granted, I could have not finished it, but I wanted to, and it's something I could throw up on Instagram, and it's good to keep the art machine rolling and let people, you know, find it because, you know, whatever. But let me show you what I'm doing. So I didn't document this perfectly because I wasn't planning on sharing, but I did sort of a sketch of someone jumping in the air and their arms out. And originally I had a cape and I thought it'd be kind of Superman, but the legs in is more of a Spider-Man, you know, brawler kind of thing. But then I gave it big arms, and so you can see this is the original arm underneath, and then I gave it big arms because I wanted it to look more like Beast, because I thought from the X-Men, because I thought the pose looked a bit more like him. So then I took this, brought it down to the old 50%, and drew on top of it. Actually, let me bring this down to 25% so you can see it a little bit better. Now this is where I actually said, okay, now it's Beast. Now this got erased a little bit later on because it originally had a little bit more detail, but I always prefer the human Beast, specifically from the X Factor days. That's like my favorite Beast. So then I went ahead and did the ink. Well, first I took this down to 10%, and I took this one down now to 25%, and then I went ahead with the inks. So there you can see, and I did use a bit of a reference up here just to remember what the costume looked like. There's the red and blue, which was the main X Factor one, and then this came later, and that's my favorite X Factor team colors, or whatever you want to call it. So then, speaking of colors, I went ahead and erased those and put in some colors. I did flat shading. I did no highlights, I just did shading, which was like one shade and a hair over on the color spectrum for each of these 4 colors, so that was pretty quick and easy. I wasn't going to do any shading or coloring, but once I got that far into it, and then when I decided I wanted to put it up somewhere, I put a little bit of green in the background, and I just took a brush and did a few layer passes to give it a little bit of a, you know, texture back there. So this isn't bad. It's a fun little, like, sketch. I mean, it's a little bit more finished than a sketch, but this is sort of my loose, quick style, where I wasn't going for a specific pose, I wasn't going for a specific anything. Let me just see what comes out, and this took me about an hour. So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. It's like, oh, for a quick sketch, it came out pretty good, but it should have taken a lot less time.
Took a trip up to Toy Safari, which is in Alameda. I always mix up the names. You can see they've got really good displays. This is what my house will one day look like. I mean, we're halfway there now, but I've been coming here for years, and over time these displays have gotten better and better, more well lit, more organized, which is nice for seeing things, but the deals have gotten worse and worse because oh, I did get that guy right there. Well, that guy. Did you see the one? He's a blue wolf Zord guy that from Power Rangers that I ended up getting. But the deals have gotten worse because it used to be, you know, they knew some things were expensive, but stuff that was like knocking around in a box you dug through, you could find a $5 figure for $1, stuff like that, you know, which is kind of, to me, is the value of digging through bins. But now that it's all sorted like this, you don't get that value, but also some of the stuff is overpriced. Now you can still get a deal or get something halfway okay, but it's definitely an inverse proportion of the more well displayed things are, the more nicely lit they are, the less chance you'll get a deal, and the higher chance that it might be marked over what it should be. So I still go, and it's much nicer to look at, and just I end up shopping a little bit less, unfortunately. There's some Star Wars stuff, and yeah, I'm just going to talk a little bit while I pan around just to the end here. There's a lot of stuff up on the ceiling, which I'd been coming there for a while, and then one day I looked up and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, see, there's like Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, and sometimes they have an ad up there. They have like all the big stuff for sale. There's a huge mannequin of Ninja Storm, Power Rangers. All that Power Ranger stuff is over by like the Barbies and the dolls and stuff, which is weird. It's in a completely different section, and I don't know why. This is what I ended up getting, Magna Defender and his Jet Jammer new in box for very cheap. It had a price tag on it that I feel like was from the original store, and then the blue Battleborg Wolf, and a little Kamen Rider, which I actually got at a different store. In my Japanese class, we had a one-off where we went to a different teacher, or sensei, I should say, I guess, that was teaching us Japanese calligraphy, or shodo, and this was just a one-day thing. This is not what we normally do, but I took this video of her writing, and I find it mesmerizing. It's like watching Bob Ross or somebody. I don't know, there's something about it I just really enjoy. It's very quiet and sort of meditative the way she does it, which is not at all how I am, but I enjoy watching someone else be that way. And the kana we were working on was hanabi, which is fireworks. Hana is flower. I think hanabi is like fire flower, sky flower, something like that. But yeah, so she did this, and then we all practiced, and we learned various terms, most of which I forget now, specific to this. And you can see my weak attempt. There's the hanabi. and then yeah, I think that's fire on the bottom. So and then on the left, that little 3 letters, that's Gyazu, or yeah, Gyazu. That's me. Anyway, whatever. The next couple days, I did more of these sketches, you know, in quotes, because they all took me at least an hour, and they're in color. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Iceman, Archangel, all from that era of X Factor that Walt Simonson had drawn in the costumes I liked. And if you watched my San Diego Comic-Con videos from this year, when I talked to Walt Louis Simonson, this is the era I was referring to. Some of these came out better than others, but it was a good exercise overall, and people seem to enjoy them. Took a trip to New York, to San Francisco, Japantown. That looked like a weird floating city, that picture. I don't know, just on the way up. And we went there to meet some friends, and here's like the little pagoda area, and there's a lot of bubbles and things. Then we went inside and had sushi off these boats, which is fun, but not a format that's really good if you're a vegetarian, a picky eater, etc. Because you pull it off and everything has different prices based on the color of the plate, and etc. So I enjoyed sitting there, but I didn't eat much. And we went into the bookstore nearby and saw this book, Drawing is Magic, and that is something I don't agree with. Drawing is hard work. I'm sorry. But the best thing was we went to this area and got, I believe this was called Dragon's Breath. And it's this weird food that's like frozen and something super cold, and when you bite it, it makes smoke, and it makes you look like a maniac, as you can see. And it's sort of like cereal, almost like Captain Crunch or something, and you stick in it and eat it. I don't know.
So I've been sick-ish the last 2 weeks. A stomach thing that is either an infection, possibly, the doctor says, or I also speculated I might become lactose intolerant. My uncle had it happen to him. I don't want it to happen, as I love cheese, but you know, I'd probably lose some weight, so I'm kind of, I don't want it to happen, but I kind of do. Anyway, that's a weird thing. But meanwhile, I've been having a hard time sitting this way. It's a lot easier for me to lay down. But I've gotten some work done, and I have some client work I have to work on. I haven't really been working on the horror, unfortunately, because I don't have to. But things that I've had to have been working on, I have been. Right! And one thing I'm working on is a commission. I ran a special, which, depending on when you see this, might be over. I'm running it till the end of July 2017. Half price, all commissions that fit into certain categories, such as Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, I think I said Godzilla, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There might have been another, but you get the idea. And so Tokusatsu is sort of the general category I was going for. And so someone contacted me, actually somebody I know, and said they wanted me to do a cover recreation of a Venom Lethal Protector cover, but to do it as the Japanese Spider-Man against his nemesis, Professor Monster. Awesome. Half price, buddy. Going for it. So that's what I'm working on. And I kind of did the mock-up, and it's one of those things that's weird, because at first, I've never done an homage. I've never done a cover recreation. I mean, it's not an exact recreation, because I'm changing everything, but, like, it should still be recognizable as a tribute, homage, parody, whatever you want to call it, of the original image. And so at first I thought it was easier because a lot of decisions have been made for me as far as layout and things like that. And it was, but one of the things is the way the original one goes is Venom is kind of jumping down at Spider-Man, like you see his head and hands. But Venom, you know, he's a wall crawler like Spider-Man, so he could be jumping off a building, whatever. Professor Monster is more like just like an evil, he's the scientist, sorcerer, whatever, but he's just sort of hanging, you know. And that was like, the way the light blows me out looks pretty awesome there. But anyway, so I had to kind of have him jumping, and I ended up using the cape to cover it up, and it sort of doesn't quite make sense if you really think about it with this character, but it works. But then I started inking it last night, and I definitely had that, like, oh, I can't draw. I've forgotten how to ink. I don't know how to draw. And I let it sit. Actually, this was the night before last, my mistake. And I looked at it today, and it's coming out a little bit better. I'll show you. So this is the rough, and I've started going in. Originally, this was Venom. This Spider-Man is very close. The main thing I changed was I slimmed him down a little bit, gave him more of the evil eye, gave him his Marveler communicator. But this is all different. This was Venom's face, and so I had to kind of change it. And, you know, it wasn't 100% there. It was, like, kind of close, but then I started going in with the inks, and I was just hating it. I don't hate it as much today. It still needs some work. I don't know what was going on. I was having trouble with my line weight or something. And I'm going to have color too, so that'll help it. But Yeah, I don't know. It's not as bad as I thought. I definitely had the thing of I forgot how to draw, which we all have from time to time. Whereas today I'm feeling a little more optimistic and just I gotta put some more work into it and then it'll be fine. Maybe erase a few lines, whatever, redraw that eye, something like that. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic on that. So that's it for now. Hey, look at me at the car, in the car. I'm at and in. I'm both. I'm at the car, in the car, at a weird angle, holding it this way because the sun. Oh, it's so hot this way. So coming back to the cool side. Woo! Anyway, why am I talking to you? Well, I have back here piles of boxes that were donated to me, from Elusive Comics and Games, my local happy comic shop that also sells games. And so that saves us a little bit of money for moving because we've actually had to buy boxes, which is something I've very rarely done in the past. I've moved many times, but usually my possessions were small enough and the time frame was long enough that I would just go to the back of like liquor stores and stuff and get free boxes. But we're not in a situation where we could do that realistically, so we've been buying them. And some of them, you know, it's like 80 cents, $1.50 a box, which I guess makes sense. I just never thought about it. But you go and you buy a pile of boxes, suddenly it's 20, 30 bucks, and that's not enough. So anyway, they are donating these to us. But why am I talking about this? Not because of boxes, but because of a certain type of stubborn laziness I have that pertains to these boxes, but also pertains to my artwork and probably life in general. I try to get things done as quickly as possible often, and I will brute force things, and I'm not lazy in the sense that I don't want to do it necessarily, although sometimes. But I go in, I parked out front where I normally do, and they're like, hey, we got your box. I'm like, great, thanks so much. Are you parked in back? Essentially, this is what they asked. And after me being an idiot and not knowing what they're talking about, because the boxes are back there, I'm like, well, I could just carry them through the store and this and that. And they're like, well, you could pull your car around and it's much less effort and blah, blah. I'm like, no. And so I got them all, put them in a box and carried them out here. And it wasn't more than I could handle, but it was harder than it needed to be probably. And I could have just moved my car and had an easier time of it. And I didn't want to because I'd never parked over there before. And I already parked. And I don't want to move my car because that part of the job is done. It might have been done wrong, but I'll keep revising and editing until I get it right. Putting in more effort, picking up the boxes, carrying them to the store, carrying them to the car, as opposed to moving the car. Time-wise, I probably spent a little bit more time. Let's say it evened out, though. Let's just say it would have equaled my pulling the car around versus my coming through. But effort is less. Either way, I would have either saved some time or some effort. But I chose to just go straight ahead because I'd already finished that part and I'd rather just keep revising, similar to art. Oftentimes, I'll be working on something half hour, have a figure, a scene, whatever it is, and it's just not working. And I keep adjusting and redrawing and shape changing and resizing and redraw it again. And sometimes I can get it there. It's like I'm brute forcing it and I get it to where I like it. And sometimes I'll spend another hour working on it and then start all over. And then when I start all over, it gets a lot easier. So theoretically, I should probably start all over sooner. You know, if it's not working, just do it over, start over. You do another quick sketch. And I'm not talking about a finished piece of art. I'm talking about rough sketches, maybe rough pencils, part of an inked thing, whatever it is where I wouldn't be losing that much time, and it's not always a conscious decision either. I'm just in the groove of like, I gotta just get it done, and I've already done that part. I don't wanna go backwards, so I'll keep working on this step forever, even though going back and doing the step before it would save me time and or effort and perhaps result in a better product. Just like with the box movement, just like with my art. Life.
So yeah, we're moving. I forgot to mention that. We're moving to a new house in a new town, and that is something that is going on for a while. But what you're looking at is Apocalypse, who was sort of the bonus character. He was the main villain of X Factor, of those other sketches. I did him the following week. And here is the Venom original cover next to my finished Emissary of Hell Spider-Man sketch cover, homage cover, parody cover, whatever you want to say. And here's another commission I did of an original Star Wars character somebody had me do. So just, after my art doubt and my weird procrastinating style, just to end on a bit of a positive note, here's 3 finished pieces I did. Zippity doo dah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Me and my cats and my pen. We'll see you again soon. This is GAZBOT. Thanks. Press like if you want. Bye. Subscribe. Whatever.
Hey, so, light, square, not a square, whatever. Why am I always commenting on light? Hey, light in my eyes.
that was
such as